Moving on, let's now see what this chapter has in unfold for us. Won't your mother be looking for you? The conductor asked when he gave the girl her ticket. No, no one will be looking for me, she said. The bus started, and again, there were the same wonderful sights. Over here, sights mean view or a certain scenery. Wali wasn't bored in the slightest and greeted everything with the same excitement she'd felt the first time. You can look at this illustration here and know that excitement could be represented through an emotion like this. But suddenly, she saw a young cow lying dead by the roadside, just where it had been struck by some fast moving vehicles. Isn't that the same cow that ran in front of the bus on our trip to town? She asked the conductor. The conductor nodded, and she was overcome with sadness. Nodded means you say yes or agree. What had been a lovable, beautiful creature just a little while ago had now suddenly lost its charm and its life and looked so horrible, so frightening as it lay there, legs spread eagled, a fixed stare in its lifeless eyes, blood all over. So, a lovable, beautiful creature here refers to the cow that just died in the road accident that was previously mentioned. And frightening means extremely strange in a fearful manner. The bus moved on. The memory of the dead cow haunted her, dampening her enthusiasm. She now no longer waited to look out of the window. She sat thus, glued to her seat, until the bus reached her village at 3:40. She stood up and stretched herself. Haunted her here means scared her. Dampening her enthusiasm is a phrase that is used to define a certain form of excitement or joy. Then she turned to the conductor and said, "Well, sir, I hope to see you again." "Okay, madam," he answered her, smiling. "Whenever you feel like a bus ride, come and join us. And don't forget to bring your fare." She laughed and jumped down from the bus. Then away she went, running straight for home. Over here, fare means the bus ticket. That was 30 paise. When she entered her house, she found her mother awake and talking to one of Vali's aunts, the one from South Street. This aunt was a real chatterbox. She never closed her mouth once she started to talk. So, a real chatterbox is a phrase that is used to refer to somebody who speaks a lot. You can see here that there are two people in this illustration who are talking like somebody who is a chatterbox. "And where have you been?" said her aunt when Wali came in. She spoke very casually, not expecting a reply. So Wali just smiled, and her mother and aunt went on with their conversation. "Yes, you're right," Wali's mother said. "So many things in our midst and the world outside. How can we possibly know about everything? And even when we do know about something, we often can't understand it completely, can we?" So we see that in this particular instance, there is a certain form of questioning that is taking place between Wali's aunt and Vali's mother. They're talking about so much happening in their lives and in the lives of people outside that it's not very possible for them to know about everything. And so they can't even understand everything. Oh, yes, breathed Valli. What? Asked her mother. What's that you say? Oh, said Valli. I was just agreeing with what you said about things happening without our knowledge. So, your Valli is trying to be extra careful about ensuring that her mother doesn't get to know about her trip to the town and back. Just a chit of a girl, she is, said her aunt. And yet, look how she pokes her nose into our conversation, just as though she were a grown lady. Wali smiled to herself. She didn't want them to understand her smile, but then there wasn't much chance of that, was there? Just a chit of a girl is a phrase that refers to a very small and a young girl who is often a child. There are several key terms that we must also understand in order to know and learn the chapter better. Spread eagled means spread out. You can see this from the particular dish which is being spread out on the pan over here. Haunted means something or someone who is impossible to forget. So you can see here how there are little tiny ghosts who are haunting and constantly moving around a man's head. Pokes her nose, takes an interest in something that doesn't concern her. There are a few questions that we must answer to comprehend the chapter better. Let's now look into what these questions are. Question number 1. What was Vali's deepest desire? Find the words and phrases in the story that tell you this. So, the answer to this question could be that Vali's deepest desire was to go on a bus ride. The words and phrases in the story that tell this are source of unending joy, stare wistfully, and kindle in her longings, dreams, and hopes. Moving forward, question number 2. How did Vali plan her bus ride? What did she find out about the bus? And how did she save up the fare? The answer to this question could be that over many days and months, Vali listened carefully to conversations between her neighbors and people who regularly used the bus and asked a few discreet questions here and there. She also came to know that the town was around 6 miles from her village and the bus fare was 30 paise and the bus trip took 45 minutes. She also thought that if she stayed in the bus and came back by the same bus, it would only cost her 60 paise. She painstakingly saved each and every penny she got, resisting all types of temptations to buy peppermints, toy, etc., and even a ride on the merry-go-round at the village annual fair, so as to save 60 paise. It was a secret tip which she had planned without the knowledge of her parents. Question number 3. What does why Question number 3. Why does the conductor refer to Wali as Madam? The conductor calls Wali as Madam as she behaved like a grown up and did not think that she was a child. She also refused his help and told him that she can manage on her own. Question number 4. Find the lines in the text which tell you that Vali was enjoying her ride on the bus. The answer to this question could be that Vali thoroughly enjoyed her ride in the bus. The following lines from the text tell us about it. She saw so many things on her way. She saw a canal, palm trees, grasslands, and distant mountains. Oh, it was all so wonderful. That's what she felt in exact words. Sometimes the bus seemed on the point of gobbling up another vehicle that was coming towards them or a pedestrian crossing the road. Somehow it passed smoothly, leaving all obstacles behind, and then she saw a cow running very fast in front of the bus. This all seemed very funny to Wali, and she laughed and laughed till tears flowed from her eyes. Question number 5. Why does Wali refuse to look out of the window on her way back? Wali refused to look out of the window on her way back as she saw the dead body of the cow who was running towards the bus when she was going to the town. This made her sad and frightened. Question number 6. What does Wali mean when she say, I was just agreeing with what you said about things happening without our knowledge? The answer to this question could be that while making this statement, Wali was trying to hide the fact about her bus ride, which she did without her mother's knowledge. She was also feeling elated at making a successful attempt at her plan. The word that I used here is elated, which means extremely happy, satisfied, and joyous. Question number 7. The author describes the things that Wali sees from an 8 years old point of view. Can you find evidence from the text for this statement? The answer to this question could be that yes. For example, when the author says, she was fascinated by the bus, and watching the bus fill with a new set of people each time was a source of unending joy for her. When the author describes the bus, he stresses on the color and look of the bus, like silver, because a child is attracted towards color. The seats were soft and luxurious. The description that the author gives when Wali looked outside are so typical of an 8-year-old. The blue sky and acres of green field show the enthusiasm that a child holds. A cow running in front of the bus even fascinates the child, whereas the sight of a cow which was dead further brought tears in her eyes, and she refused to look outside the window on her return journey. This also describes the behavior of an 8-year-old child extremely aptly. We'll now go through a quick revision of all that we have learned so far in the chapter. So, let's get moving. Wali is an 8-year-old girl who lives near a bus stop in a village and loves standing in her doorway, watching the routines of people at the bus stop. Routines mean actions or behavior. She grows a desire to ride the bus and decides to plan out everything from her expenses to her journey to the timings. It means want or keen to do something. Over here, she's extremely keen to ride and travel in the bus. She manages to save enough money and sneaks out of her house one afternoon to ride the bus. Sneaks mean move out secretly without someone, which are basically her parents, knowledge. Basically, without letting somebody know. The conductor and other passengers in the bus are surprised to see a girl traveling alone, and the conductor calls her Madam in a jovial way. Jovial means in a very funny or joking manner. Wali is awestruck by the sights she sees on her journey. She is extremely surprised at the view that she saw outside her window. Upon reaching the town, Valli does not get out of the bus. She pays for her fare back to her village and returns in the same bus. Upon returning home, she sees her mother and aunt talk about things that happened without her knowledge. Humorously, she agrees with her mother. Humorously means in a funny way.